Good, nice to have you with us as we kick off a broadcast day here on Mad Dog Unleashed on this Tuesday. And it's nice to have you aboard. Yes, indeed, it's the 5th day of June, 2018, as we chat to you about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned. Eddie and the crew, yours truly on the great SiriusXM 82 and 888 Mad Dog 6. That's your two-way sports talk telephone number as we chat to you about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned on this busy day. Well, we got a lot going on here today. We're going to do a little of this, a little of that. We're going to do something on Dwight Clark later. Steve Fuller is quarterback at Clemson. We'll have a conversation with Steve. Dwight passes away. Terrible tragedy with ALS. The big catch against Dallas in the 81 championship game in San Francisco. Their first title in the NFC. And then, of course, they beat the Bengals in the World Series and the Super Bowl. We'll talk to Steve Coughlin, I believe. Is that correct? A little later on today. 40th anniversary for Affirmed and winning the Triple Crown. Steve was the Sportsman of the Year that year in Sports Illustrated and in the cover of Time Magazine. So he was 18 years of age. We will talk to him a little bit later on here today. And we're going to do a little Robert Kennedy in a minute. I'll get you set up with that in a sec. And I bring up Robert Kennedy today because today is the 50th anniversary of his... he died 26 hours later, so it's hard to exactly say when the date is. He died on June 6th. He was shot on June 5th. And that, of course, is at the Ambassador Hotel, 50th anniversary of that terrible tragedy after he won the California primary. And we're going to do a little history here to get the show started today. I can't leave with the Capitals. I'm sick of the Cavaliers and Warriors. I don't want to discuss Steve Kerr bashing Trump or LeBron bashing Trump. And we can scream and yell all night about why the Eagles didn't go, whether it was kneeling, not kneeling. And the bottom line is Trump didn't want to be embarrassed. There were 10 Eagle personnel going to the White House. That's it, 10. So whether they were players, I don't know if those are just 10 players or 10. I'm sure they were just 10 players out of the 45. So he did not want to be embarrassed. He can't have a photo op in front of the White House lawn with the great pictures and a little quips by the president when there's 10 Eagle players behind him. That's an embarrassment. Can't have that. So Trump is going to not tell us that they have declined his invitation. Trump instead will come up with the idea, well, I didn't want him anyway because they are not going to stand up for the flag, and he's going to drape himself in patriotism. And, the whole thing is a mess. I mean, its bottom line is the whole thing is a mess. Trump could cure cancer right now. The people who hate Trump never going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And, Trump could essentially alienate 50% of his populace. The people who love Trump are going to say it's the liberal media, and it's it's fake news. So no matter what you do, you're dead. So if I sit there and say that I want to, praise Trump, which who knows if I wanted to do that, I'm going to hear it from the one end, and if I go out there and I kill Trump, I might hear it from the other end. So you're dead either way. Here's what I would tell Steve Kerr. I would make sure that Steve Kerr goes out there and organizes a game plan where they have a little efficiency and they look a little sharp, because he was horrendous in the Houston series, and he was bailed out. He did absolutely nothing. And so if I was... And now Kerr's earned the right to say something. As we've said 1,000 times, his father assassinated American University in Beirut. So I don't want to ever take that away from Kerr. I mean, he has a right, but Kerr should right now be concentrating on his team more so than, whether the Eagles will show up at the White House. Nobody really cares that much of what Steve Kerr has to say, and I care less. LeBron should worry about getting J.R. Smith some baskets. That's what LeBron should be concerned about, not necessarily so much about the president of the United States, who, let's face it, is a tricky candidate to support. And he's a tricky candidate, to defend, and it's easy to gang up on him. It's an impossible scenario. I mean, he can cure cancer. Christ, he might get the missiles out of North Korea, which haven't happened since the mid-40s, and he wouldn't get credit for that. And so, I mean, the economy could be great. The unemployment could be great. America could be robust. Nobody's going to give him credit. And then if, he does something bad, we're going to, which he does plenty of times, we'll destroy him on that end. So it's a no-win situation. If you go the political ride, you're in big trouble. And this is a sports show. So we're not going to do that today. We're going to go into a guy who tried to unify the country and was on his way of maybe doing that. And the issue with Robert Kennedy that's fascinating is, do you believe that day was a transformative day as far as American history is concerned? A lot of people believe that. that, he was well on his way to winning the Democratic nomination. He got into the primary season late after New Hampshire. A lot of people, after, 4 years of, deep thinking with his brother being assassinated, leaving the White House, sort of being a little reclusive. He became a state senator in New York, and then he ran for president. He ran on an anti-Vietnam ticket, which obviously got Johnson out of the race anyway. Johnson didn't want to run against Kennedy, and Johnson was derailed by Vietnam. So he ran on an anti-Vietnam ticket. He's the one who told everybody in Indianapolis at a black convention about Martin Luther King's assassination. A lot of people, now I'm not sure what I think on it. I didn't live the time to give you a specific answer. Larry Tye did, he shortly. A lot of people think that Robert Kennedy, who, by the way, grew up with Joseph McCarthy, was a tough son of a gun, wanted to go after all the mafia guys. I mean, he was a rugged guy. Get rid of communists in Congress in the 50s. He was tough. He had a transformation, and he became a diehard Democrat, and he hated the war and all those things. And a lot of people think that if he would have won that primary and won that election, won the nomination from the Democrats, he would have beaten Nixon. And then, Vietnam would have stopped, and it would have been an easier place to live. Now, who knows? I know a lot of people think that, but unfortunately, taken down by 3 bullets there at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles in 1968. No, it's funny. I remember that. I was 8 years old. I don't remember King as much, and I certainly don't remember Kennedy, John Kennedy. But I do remember that. I remember waking up, and whatever it was, I was 8 years old. It was a June day. I was probably getting ready for school, and my father put the radio on, and he wanted to hear it. And I said, Dad, why the radio? Whatever I said, he said, Robert Kennedy got shot. I said, what? And, whatever I said, I just remember his reaction. He was not a Kennedy fan, but I just remember his reaction putting the whatever radio station it was at 6 o'clock in the morning. Remember, he got shot at midnight LA time, so 3 hours after. And he put the radio on, getting ready to work. And I remember distinctively his reaction and hearing the radio tell us about Kennedy. And at the time, they were somewhat optimistic that he was going to survive. And then I guess he died a day later, which I don't remember as much, but I do remember that moment in time. So the making of a liberal lion will be with Larry Tye. He is sec. We'll do assassination. We'll talk about Robert Kennedy for a bit on its 50th anniversary today. And then we'll move into some other things with sports as the day moves along, including the Belmont, including Dwight Clark. And we'll sort of get into a little Cavs and certainly get a little capital thing going with the Vegas. We'll get into that and a little baseball. I guess the Yankees are going to do something that's never been done before. They're going to play tonight in Toronto, tomorrow morning in Boston, and tomorrow night in Baltimore. 3 games, 3 different cities in the same day to see if they can trump ESPN playing 3 games in 32 hours on July 9th. So the commissioner has approved it. They're going to play tonight in Toronto, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. in Boston, wake up, ball game at Fenway, and then tomorrow afternoon at 4, they're going to play at Camden Yards. Make up one of those games. Something that's never been done. The Yankees. We continue here on Mad Dog Russo. Mad